Welcome to the Radical Success Podcast, where we focus on internal transformation to experience external results. I'm your host and coach, Doreen Rainey. Join me each week for insightful messages and powerful interviews to equip you to take bold, courageous, and radical action to live the life you want and deserve. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Radical Podcast. I'm Doreen Rainey, and I am thrilled to come and share with you, talk with you, connect with you about what it means to really define success for yourself and get the guts to go after it. And it's all possible when you are committed to creating an internal transformation so that you can get external results. And I am so excited to have this conversation with you today around the thing. Capital T, capital H, capital E, thing. The thing. And I really got to thinking about this after watching the docuseries a while back on Being Serena. Serena Williams docuseries on HBO. And so before I jump into sharing with you what my major takeaway was from that series, I want to take a moment and just give a big shout out to all of the members of my Radical Success Inner Circle. Those of you who are members of the Inner Circle, you get access to our Radical Archives. This is where we have over 50 hours of trainings, expert interviews, keynotes, live sessions from our Radical events, and all of this content is geared towards helping you take actionable, practical, implementable steps around building your career or growing your business, managing your money, building confidence, being more assertive, understanding your purpose and your gifts. And in addition to having access to that archives, to our Radical Library, members also get a brand new monthly training module from me every single month, as well as a live Q&A coaching session with me every month. And we just had our session for February, and I'm going to tell you, the members are pumped up. We are in the midst of a 12-week goal challenge. And I am excited to see what these women and men will accomplish over the next 12 weeks that will far exceed maybe even what they plan to achieve in this entire year. And so if you want to be a part of that challenge, if you want to be a part of the Inner Circle, come on board. We would love to have you inside of our community. And let me tell you, membership in the Inner Circle is just $20 a month. That is, what did they say? That's less than $1 a day. That's less than a cup of coffee a day. But the content, the support, the accountability, the training, the coaching, the networking, everything that you get as a part of the Inner Circle far, far, far exceeds the investment that you make. And so if you want to become a part of the Inner Circle, jump on over to DoreenRainey.com, click on the link at the top, Inner Circle, and you'll get all the details. And I look forward to having you be a part of our current 12-week challenge. So today I am talking about the thing. Capital T, capital H, capital E, thing. And as I said at the beginning, I got to really thinking about this watching the Being Serena docuseries on HBO. This series chronicled Serena giving birth to her daughter, her marriage, her wedding, and then tracking her comeback into professional tennis, playing in those high-level, highly competitive tennis tournaments. And as it tracked her getting back into shape, starting her training again, managing weight that you gain from, you know, being pregnant, all of that. I found one piece so extraordinarily interesting, and it made me really think about some of the goals and some of the things that I was working on in my own life. And of course, I wanted to come and share this aha moment for me, this revelation for me listening in on this docu-series. And throughout the series, Serena has interactions with her coach, Patrick Mouratoglou, and I apologize if I pronounced that last name wrong, but he is constantly working with her to get her back in shape, get back into competitive form so that she can, take her rightful place back as number one in tennis. And we see these conversations play out throughout the series about her commitment, her focus, her training, her schedule, how she's balancing being a new mom, now being a wife. He talks about how prior to this year, the year of having her daughter and getting married, she woke up, ate, breathed, slept tennis. And now she has these other very important factors in her life as well, her husband, her child, her family. And he's constantly challenging her on what it will take to get back to being number one. And if that is in fact what she wants, then he tells her these are the things that you'll need to do. And what we see is the struggle that takes place with Serena as she does want to get back into tennis. She does want to get back on the court. She does want to reclaim her number one spot. She does still have that fight, that passion in her. But she also now has this family and these other elements to her life. And so he suggests that she go over to Europe for a month where she can solely focus on her training. And after really talking about it, how would that work with her husband and the baby, she decides to go. And we see her working hard, training hard. We see her being coached with her coach, working out with her hitting partners and things like that. And then at the end of her time, she's having this conversation with Patrick, her coach. And while he credits her for making progress, for being focused, that she has really improved, really done some things to get back in shape, back in playing form, there are still some areas where she is challenged. And one of those areas is around her weight. And at this point, Serena gets very passionate, so much so that she starts crying. And she reminds him that she is not lazy, that she is a hard worker, that you cannot challenge her commitment, her focus. You cannot tell her that she doesn't come in and give 100%, go all in. And she is really struggling with figuring out this weight thing. She even mentions that, she can go to bed weighing one weight and then wake up having gained, 3, 4, 5 pounds just overnight. And so she's upset just as much as he is, but she's also reminding him that she's one of the hardest working, most focused athletes that you'll ever come across. And at the end of her her passionate statements, he looks at her, and this is what he says. He says, "You are training hard, Serena. You are showing up on the court, doing what you need to do. But there's one thing you haven't done." And Serena replies, No, I've done everything. I've done everything. And he says, "No, you haven't stopped breastfeeding." And she said, but I've done everything else. I've done everything else. That's the last thing. And what he said, oh my goodness, I felt the goosebumps come up on me. He said, no, Serena, it's not the last thing. It's the thing. And I was like, wow, oh my goodness. Did you catch that? He was saying that out of all of the things that they talked about to get her back in shape, to get her mentally prepared, to get her physically ready to go back into elite competitive tennis, one of the first things she needed to do was stop breastfeeding. And part of that comes from the fact that, your body has to store fat and do certain things to be able to produce the milk that you use for breastfeeding. And because of that, it doesn't matter if Serena does all 100 of the other things to get her back ready for tennis. If she doesn't do the thing, capital T, capital H, capital E, of stopping breastfeeding, then yes, all those other things will make a difference, but it won't get her to where she wants to be. And it really made me start to think, oh my goodness, how many people are doing a bunch of things, right? Not bad things, not wrong things, but doing a bunch of things, hoping to get the results they want, but they aren't doing the thing. And oh my goodness, if you catch this, and if this applies to you, and if you decide to really take on the thing, the accelerated pace of your ability to reach your goals will be astonishing. And so when I think about the thing, it just resonates that that's where real radical success comes into play. That's when you stop adding to your goals and start multiplying to get to your goals. That's when exponential results come. And so I really want to ask you, what is your the thing, right? Capital T, capital H, capital E. For Serena, you can work out, you can eat healthy, you can practice your serve, you can get on the tennis court and practice with your hitting partners. All of those things matter. All of those things make a difference. But unless you're willing to do the thing, stop breastfeeding, you won't get to where we're trying to go to where it is you say you want to be. And so what is that thing for you? If you think about your finances, right? Maybe you want to build wealth or get out of debt or reduce your spending or stick to a budget. And you're doing things to help you get there, right? Maybe you've talked to a money manager and they've helped you map out a plan. Maybe you have stopped using your credit cards and you're really focused on getting those balances down to zero. And so you're doing some things, right, to help you be in a better financial situation. But maybe the thing that you need to do when it comes to your money is stop lending money to family and friends. Stop covering for other people's lack of financial responsibility. Stop being made to feel guilty that you should help people out or give, what you have, or, just be shamed or guilted into giving money that you may not have or you may not want to give, or that could be used to further your own financial growth, your own financial stability. That is the thing. And so until you decide to stop doing that. You're going to make some progress. You're going to make some, you're going to accomplish some things around your money, but you won't get to where you want to be. Right? What is the capital THE thing when it comes to your career? Right? Maybe you've decided that, man, I'm going to show up early. I'm going to be on time at work. I'm going to, be a team player. I'm going to step up and volunteer for projects and, learn all I can. And that could be great for what you want out of your career, and it could help you make progress. But if you know that the thing that you really need to do when it comes to your career is go back to school, if you know that the thing might be that you need to get certified in a particular area, maybe the thing you need to do is actually look for a job more in line with the career that you want to have versus the career you have, even if it means a pay cut, even if it means a lateral move, right? What is the thing? When it comes to your business, maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you've been out there, marketing and putting together e-newsletters and building your email list. And maybe you've been consistent on social media. You're posting, you're sharing, you're promoting. But maybe the thing that you need to do is make 50 sales calls every single week. Maybe the thing you need to do is follow up with the 5 people you know has the ability to change the trajectory of your business. Maybe the thing you need to do is pare down your product, pare down your services, and really focus on that one product, that one service, that one thing that you know is where you want to build your empire from. And so I'm challenging you. What is the thing? When you think about your health, right? Maybe you are at the gym every day. Maybe you are meal planning, meal prepping, watching what you eat, counting your calories. Maybe you're out and you are running or jogging every day. Hey, you may even go to acupuncture or massages. But the thing you need to do is stop smoking, right? Maybe the thing you need to do is reduce or eliminate alcohol. And so I'm telling you, I was actually watching the docuseries Being Serena on a plane. And what's so interesting, I was flying from the East Coast to the West Coast. And so I watched the first couple of episodes. And then when I was flying back from the West Coast to the East Coast, I watched the remaining episodes. And this exchange between Serena and her coach was on episode 5, which I believe was the last one. And I was on that plane like wanting to jump out of my seat when I watched this scene, because it hit me like a ton of bricks. How many times we will do the things that are convenient for us. Many times we'll do the things that we think we're supposed to be doing, or we'll do the things that other people tell us we should be doing, when in reality, all of those things matter. But if we don't do the thing, we will never reach the pinnacle of success that we're looking for in that particular area. And I think part of the reason that it resonated with me so much was because I, at this time, was in the midst of my own transition. I started out as a life coach, and I was committed to helping people understand that they have a purpose, that they have some gifts and talents, and that they could use that purpose, those gifts and those talents to carve out a career, a business, a life that brings them joy and fulfillment if they were willing to take responsibility for themselves, if they were willing to get out of their comfort zone, if they were willing to do some things that may go against the grain or go against what others in their circle may do or may be used to doing. And as I started my practice, I needed help getting my business off the ground, right? I needed support and help in marketing. I needed support and help in sales. And so I began to immerse myself in courses and conferences and with coaches to help me learn how to market and sell my life coaching services. Well, as a result of that, my business began to grow. And when my business began to grow, other people started asking me, could I help show them how to grow their business as well? And what soon happened was now not only was I a life coach, but now I had become a business coach. And when I would have events or seminars or workshops, or I would talk about what I do and what I offer and how I help people, it went from me moving people into my radical success method, my personal transformation, my personal growth coaching programs, into now splitting the options of being in personal growth, personal development, going through my radical success method, or going into my business coaching programs, going into my courses and workshops where I taught marketing, where I taught sales, where I taught building up an audience, where I taught list building, and all of those things. And for years, I did this. But for years, I struggled with how do I promote and sell both things. So I would have a conference or an event and I would say, you could choose the personal track or you could choose the entrepreneur track. And it never quite sat well with me. I was making money, right? I had people coming into my business programs. I had people coming into my personal programs. But I always felt confused. And I also felt like, was I even somewhat confusing my audience? And in the past year, year and a half, I've really been focused on exponentially growing my business and in looking at how I was going to do that, the ways that I was going to either improve or enhance my programs or offer different options or, different services. I began to look at all of the things I was doing, right? I had this business track going, I had this personal track going, and I was doing all of these things in terms of marketing and sales and enrollments. And what I began to really hear in my spirit was, you're doing all of those things, you have these two different tracks, but the thing that you are called to do, the thing that you were put on this earth to put out into the world is personal transformation. And while you may be good at marketing and sales and teaching people marketing and sales, you are gifted, you are called, you are masterful at personal transformation. And so I could do all of these things. I could have these multiple programs. I could have these two tracks. I could continue to offer marketing and sales and business growth and personal transformation. Those things aren't wrong. Those things were producing results for me. Or I could do the thing. I could release all of the other elements of my business that did not solely contribute to personal transformation. The radical success method, the process of showing people how to identify their mindset DNA, how to look at what their mindset default is, what they think, what they believe, their habits, their behaviors, and to analyze, is this serving me or is this hindering me? And teaching them and showing them how to amplify that mindset, behaviors, and beliefs that serve them, and then how to manage, identify, deal with, and overcome the mindset, the behaviors, and the habits that aren't serving them. And it sounds crazy to take away revenue streams in order to focus on the revenue stream. But watching that exchange in Being Serena, it was just such confirmation for me. And so that's what I've done inside of my own business when I talk about what is the thing. And that was simply to dissolve, eliminate, sunset, let go of the business part of my company, the coaching, the teaching, the training, and really be a part of what I know I was called to do, which is the personal transformation. And so we went through, if you haven't been to my website lately, all of the elements around business growth and business development is gone. My conferences and events used to have 2 tracks when it came to breakout sessions and things like that. We had a personal track. We had a business and entrepreneur track. If you look at the last event that I had, the events I have coming up, it's all around personal transformation. And is it scary to stop doing all the things and really decide what you need to do in terms of the thing? Absolutely, 100%. But along with that fear and a little bit of anxiety comes excitement and peace, because you finally did the thing you've known all along you needed to do in order to get where you need to be. And so I want to challenge you, just as I challenge myself, to really stop tiptoeing around the thing you know you need to do. To stop trying to make all of the other actions that you take that may be necessary. It's not that you shouldn't take them, but you're trying to make all of those somehow compensate and replace the thing that you're supposed to do. So what would that look like for you if you decided that today was the day I tackled the capital T, capital H, capital E thing? What decision would you make today? What action would you take today? What conversation would you have today? What would you stop doing today? What would you start doing today? What would be the thing? Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Radical Success Podcast. I believe that something I've said, something you've heard today, will have a fundamental impact on the actions you take that get you closer to your biggest goals, your biggest dreams, your biggest aspirations. As always, I would love to hear how this resonated with you. Was there an aha? Did you have a takeaway? Is there some action that you're going to take as a result of what I shared? If so, please, please, please leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know how this has impacted you. I would love for you to also leave a review and subscribe to this podcast. If you haven't shared this podcast with your family, with your friends, with your community, please do so right now. It's always a joy when we bring in new listeners and I get to hear how they discovered this podcast and what it's meant to them. So I appreciate you. I love having you a part of this radical community, and I look forward to connecting with you again on our next episode. In the meantime, Be radical. Thanks for listening to the Radical Success Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Be sure to head over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Until next time, stay radical.